Oh,
Okay.
that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good question. To be honest,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Nobody is going to double check the previous one.
When we were doing a brief about how we're going to do this interview, you told us about how this is a very common problem when it comes to buying a house.
So, okay, and then I think I haven't asked this question yet, so I want to ask this. I have 5 kids, I have one favorite, and that's all I'm gonna give it.
Yeah.
These 5 houses too.
That's
yeah.
my case.
Yeah. Are you the favorite?
We are 4 and I am the first one and the favorite.
Hi guys, I'm Bea with Everything is Boffo, and Paul and I, right over there, are here again with Fran Ortega Moreno. We featured him before for buying a property in Spain, but also there's more to it than just buying property. So today we're going to talk about what happens after you have assets here in Spain. So Fran, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for having me here again. Nice to see you again. The topic today is not something very good, but unfortunately happen a lot now.
You have to talk about it. Okay,
Yeah.
so which is typically when someone has a property here in Spain, sometimes like the owner passes away. So what happens when you have not just physical property, right? You're talking also about banks, money in the bank and whatever, like a car if they bought a car. So tell us why it's important to have a will done when you are a resident here in Spain.
Yes, the key point here is when one person passes away in Spain, we need to double check if in the Spanish will bank there is a will or not, okay? Because in theory, the notary here or the authorities here will request this document from the will bank. If the will bank mentioned that you made a Spanish will or even a will made in another country but registered here, this is the will that we will apply here in Spain, okay? And according to this will, we will be able to sort it out quickly all the inheritance procedure, because bear in mind that according to the Spanish regulations, we only have 6 months, okay, to make all the legal procedure. Imagine if we don't have a Spanish will or a will registered in Spain. We have to get document from your country. If it's not in Spanish, we have to translate it. We have to get apostille, spend a lot of money, fees and lawyers. No? According to this, just having a will in Spain registered in the will bank will be enough to begin with all the inheritance procedure here.
And you're saying that also creating a will is pretty straightforward, right? Like here in Spain.
According to the Spanish regulations, the way the Spanish people make the will is in front of a notary public. Okay, you know, in Spain, the notary public is a very important person because it's the authority from the government who gives faith about the document. This is the typical way to do it. In the majority of our clients, we make the will in front of a Spanish will. However, it is also possible to sign a will in a notary out of Spain if we register this will in the will bank. Something that is possible because sometimes we have some clients, they are not able to come to Spain quickly, and we suggest, okay, don't worry. We can find a notary there where you are. You can sign in front of the notary there, and we can register this will here as your last will.
I see. And then when you say last will, so what happens if you have to make changes? Can you just amend, just write, something that says, hey, I want to add this person?
Okay, in the Spanish system, you don't have the option to modify a previous will.
Okay.
You have to make a new one.
Okay.
That means that if for any reason you change your mind or something happened in the middle, you have to make a new will.
Okay, so you have to remember what you have last time in that will, and then...
To be honest,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Nobody is going to double check the previous one.
Okay.
Because the information you receive from the will bank is where you sign your last will. Which notary?
I
Which
see.
notary? That
Okay.
means that you can go with this document. Your lawyer, okay, can go to this notary and say, hello, we need a legal copy from this will, okay? And this is the will that will be applied in the inheritance.
I see. Okay, and then usually, like, because we're in Spain, we get taxed a lot. So there's a lot of taxes that we hear. Is there an inheritance tax, and how much is that usually?
Okay, at the moment, okay, because
Things
all
change.
ages, things change. The general rule in Spain is if you receive inheritance from your parents, the children's almost they don't have to pay anything, okay, and sometimes they have to pay some little taxes to the town hall if you have a property, okay, or from the person to their parents is also zero. The problem is when is siblings, nieces, and other families. In that case, you have to pay taxes, okay? But at the moment, the general rule is almost zero.
Okay. So if I have kids, or if my parents inherit from me, they almost no.
The inheritance tax,
Yes.
okay, is, in Spain, we have 17 communities, okay? And this is regulated by the communities here, okay? At the moment, the majority of the communities in Spain, the general rule is to pay zero, okay? Some strange cases, you have to pay something, but they have some allowances, for example, 250,000 euros per person, okay? But the general rule is zero, okay?
Sounds good. Okay, so, and then if, for example, somebody passes away, what happens to the assets immediately after? Because I'm sure for a lot of people who, we're like, for us, we're the first of our family who move here. We don't know what happens when someone passes away.
Okay, here we have two options, okay? If you made a will and you use a lawyer, okay, my advice is contact your lawyer, okay? Because your lawyer, especially in this very bad moment, okay, will help you to say, hello, don't worry. We will cover all, just focus in your loss, and that's it, okay? For example, in the wills we made for our clients, we mention as executor, okay, our law firm. That means that you can find in the copy of the will our contact telephone, email, an easy way to contact us in case something happens. Then we have the option B. If you didn't use a lawyer, didn't hire a lawyer to make your will, the first thing you need to do is to find a lawyer. Because because any lawyer specialized in this kind of things will help you to go step by step, okay? It is true that first thing is we have to wait 15 working days right after the death, because we cannot get this document from the will in Madrid before 15 days, 15 working days, okay? But probably this will be the first step to know where this person signed the last will. In case the person signed a will. If this person didn't sign a will in Spain or is not registered, this document from the will bank will mention no will in Spain. And this is the key point here. Now we have to collect and get any legal document from your country to prove in Spain who are or who is the inheritor. And depending on the country, it will take a lot of time. We are, in the UK, this document is the probate. Sometimes it will take more than a year. And sometimes, if there are some discrepancy there, we cannot do anything here. The typical problem is, or the typical scenario is, one person passed away. Usually they have a property here. They want to sell the property. However, this is not possible because we cannot jump from the person who passed away to the inheritors. We have to make the legal procedure to change the ownership of the property in the name of the inheritors, okay? It's true, we have some solution. As I mentioned you before, we have the possibility to say, hello, don't worry, don't panic. We can sign a private contract. We can get a deposit, and with this money, we can spend the money in all the legal procedure to change the ownership of the property in the name of the new inheritors, the owners. And once this is done, we are able to sell at the notary the property.
Okay, so if, for example, if somebody inherits the property but they haven't transferred the name, but they're the heir, they cannot sell it and transfer the name from like their parents to a different buyer, right? They have to go transfer it to their name first. And then to the buyer.
Yes,
the new buyer. Okay, so if there's 5 people now who own the property,
the 5 has to be in the procedure. We have to get,
all 5 have to be transferred.
Yes, we have to get NIEs for them. Sometimes sometimes depending on the bank, for example, if we have funds in banks, we have to open a bank account just for them,
for the
inheritors, to move the money from the account of the person who passed away to the inheritors, and then they can send the money wherever. Okay, but for this reason is imagine if having a will with the 6 months. It is true we can apply for an extension of another 6 months. Okay, but when you apply for the extension, you have to give explanation why you cannot make in time.
Produce whatever you need to.
And even to give some explanation, you need documents, okay? Imagine if sometimes even having a will with the 6 months is not enough. We have a lot of stress to be in time. Imagine if we don't have a will and we have more inheritors or more properties, because sometimes it's not just a property, just a car, just a bank account. Sometimes it's more.
Yeah, sometimes people have 2 or 3 properties, or a business maybe even
businesses. It's not usual, okay, because but sometimes some people buy a property through a company here. We have to change the shares in the name of the inheritors. That's crazy. But if we don't have a will, it's more difficult. It is possible to do it, yes, but the cost of making a Spanish will is totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Which, okay, so now I guess I should ask, how much is it to create a Spanish will?
Yes,
an average.
Yes, an average is 250 euros, okay, including notary fees, for example, per person. One question, is one will per person? Okay, is you are a couple? Is not in the same will, both, because it's a very individual act, okay, legal act, and it's one per person.
Okay, so like for a married couple, both have to create their wills.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Usually, for our experience, is what we call a mirror will, because usually it's more or less the same. Okay, but both in front of the notary. Okay.
I see. So you have so when they make a will, they have to go in front of a notary, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So what happens in front of the notary? So what does the notary do? They ask you questions? What happens?
Okay, it's something easy if you are with a lawyer, because usually we get in advance the draft of the will. Okay, depending on the notary, sometimes you have even the possibility to have the will in both languages, in Spanish and English, for example. Okay, it's not very common, okay, but this is possible, and we try to do this way. Okay, The valid version is the Spanish one, okay? But help a lot to have the English version in the same way. We usually have the draft in advance to double check any information with the client. And when they go there, okay, is almost done, okay? The notary is just explaining, okay, this is your personal information and your wish, your will is this. Are you happy with this? Yes. Sign and done.
And then do we keep the will, or you say it goes to the will bank, right?
Okay. This is not just for the wills, okay? In the Spanish system, all the official notary signed by a notary is at the notary.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's they keep it.
They keep it, okay? You just get a legal copy of your will, okay? And the notary also send an electronic copy to the will bank.
Okay.
But always the original one is at the notary. And very common question. Fran, here is my will, but without my signature. Yes, because your signature, they are only in the official document you sign in front of the notary with the signature of the notary. But the copy you have, it's just a legal document, a legal copy, where the notary say, okay, this was signed in front of me and this is valid, okay? But the original one always will be at the notary. If you lose the copy, we usually give to our clients, so don't worry. You can get a new one, okay?
Okay, so but they're the safe keepers of that.
Always, yes.
When we were doing a brief about how we're going to do this interview, you told us about like how this is a very common problem when it comes to buying a house for people who are trying to buy a house, and it's because of like the inheritance problem. So can you expound a little bit more on that?
Okay, it's very common that because the majority of the people don't know that we cannot jump from the person who passed away to the new owner. We have to go. Firstly, we have to change the ownership in the name of the inheritors. And we need to do all this inheritance procedure in advance. And once this is done, is when you are able to sell the property, to properly sell the property in front of the notary. For this reason, because not all the people know this, it's very common when you find a property, when we check all the legal documentation, we check, okay, one of the seller passed away, we don't know, sometimes even some years ago, and they didn't do anything. And we have a possible buyer. And the buyer, the buyer usually is very anxious to buy the property.
It's a hot market right now. Yeah.
And the thing is, sorry, we have to wait because we have to change the ownership in the name of the inheritor. And until this is not done, we cannot sell it. And especially this is a big problem when the buyer use a bank to buy the property with the mortgage, because the bank is not going to giving you the mortgage until the property is not registered in the name of the new owner. Okay, that means that it is totally advisable to spend your funds in finish as soon as possible this inheritance procedure. Because in the moment you put the moment you put the property in the market, is in the name of the seller, not in the person who passed away.
It has to be the legal seller.
Yes, because if not, you will probably lose your buyer, because they don't want to wait 3, 4, 6 months. Or sometimes if I were the lawyer of the buyer, depending on how many inheritors, because the common scenario is a couple, they bought the property, one of them passed away, and the inheritor is the other person. It's easy, okay, no problems at all. However, if we have some children, if there is some complexities there, as the lawyer of the buyer, you go, okay, we are not going to pay anything, we are not going to do anything until this is done. Because imagine we pay a deposit and for any reason, some of them say, I'm not going to sign. We have problems in court, and legal expenses, lawyer fees is terrible. For this reason, it's very advisable to have, even before putting the property on the market, check with your lawyers, okay, is this property now ready for being selling? Yes, it's in the name of the inheritors. Let's go.
And I am very curious that you mentioned when there's kids, suddenly they're inheritors. So in the US, you can choose to leave it to one person, right? To say, I have 5 kids, I have one favorite, and that's all I'm gonna give it. These 5 houses too.
That's my case.
Yeah. Are you the favorite?
We are 4, and I am the first one and the favorite.
But here I think what I'm hearing from you is that it goes to the kids. How can you explain that? Okay.
Very good question. Some people think, okay, if I have property in Spain, assets in Spain, the Spanish law will be applicable. Okay. But this is not true, okay? Because we have regulation from Europe, and you have the option to choose or your national law, or then the law where you are it is your main residence, in that case in Spain. But this is very important point, because if you are, for example, a US citizen and you don't have limitations, okay, you can decide the American law or the Spanish law. However, in the Spanish law, we have limitation.
Okay.
Very important, because it's very common when we are checking. Sometimes we have some clients, they come to us to check the last will they made, okay? And we found, especially wills done 20 years ago, the notary say, no, you are living here, you have to apply the Spanish law, okay? However, this is not now true. You can decide, you can choose your national law or the law where you are living. If you are living in Spain, problems, because we have limitations. We have some obligation for your children, or even for your parents if they are still alive.
And that's obligation.
It's an obligation.
Meaning they have to inherit.
Yes.
Okay. That's even if you don't choose.
Unless they renounce.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can say, okay, it's very difficult to explain, but according to the Spanish system, a minimum of 2/3 has to go to your children if you have. From these 2/3, 1/3 is a strictly obligation for all your children in equal parts.
Okay.
However, if you choose the law from the US, you don't have limitation. You can say, okay, all is for
everybody else gets $1.
Yes, and nobody can claim anything, because you are signing a Spanish will, but applying your national law.
Okay.
And here we will apply your national law, because you choose your national law and not the law from Spain. And we, in the majority of the cases, we advise don't choose the Spanish law.
For this scenario, because of this scenario.
But very important point here is you only can choose your national law if you make a will. If you don't make a will, again, we have a very big problem here, because the notary here can discuss about if it is applicable the law where you were living or the law of your nationality. And this is a big problem. You only can choose the law to be applied if you make a will.
So if you don't, then it will be Spanish law.
Problem. Usually where you are living in, when is your main residence, and we have to check and go to the law and say, according to the Spanish law, your main residence is when you live here more than 3 years, you have your life here. In that case, it's yes for us as a Spanish authorities to apply the Spanish law. It's a problem. It's a problem.
So it's very important to have a will if you have any asset.
Very important. It is also true that, for example, we have clients from Europe. When they decide to make a Spanish will just for Spanish assets, we ask them, okay, bear in mind that if you choose your national law, you have to respect any limitation in Spain from your country. For example, according to the German law, you also have some limitations. If you, in your Spanish will say, okay, I want to apply my German law, okay, but it's all for my friend. No, this is not possible because according to the German law, the law you choose, you can do this. And you have to respect your national law. Okay? And this is because sometimes we have to double check with the client if according to the nationality of the client, this will is possible or not.
I see. So you can't just say, oh, I'm German, so
It's
I'm
all
not
for
going to
my
follow.
friend.
Yeah. No.
Because if you have children, here we have to double check if you have children and the obligation for these children.
Like if German law says you have to leave to your kids, then doesn't matter what you say. You still have to follow. Okay, got it. So you can't just lie. But can you disinherit children? So say, for example, the law is you have to give to your children, but then if you have a really bad relationship.
Bear in mind that if we apply a law, for example, from the US, you don't have any limitation. This is not, it doesn't matter because you can choose, okay? But if you have to apply the Spanish law, yes, you have some possibilities to
Disinherit.
Okay? But it has to be something very, very important.
Very serious.
Very serious. Usually a criminal offense in court, things like that. It's not just this. No.
She didn't give me a Christmas gift.
Finish college. I don't know. Didn't finish high school. I don't know.
Yes, but I would like to tell you, this is a real example, okay?
Okay, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Playing with the Spanish system, okay? This was in a very little village here in Spain. It's very common when somebody who doesn't have children, for example, a person take care of him, of her.
Okay, like a caregiver.
Yes, and say, okay, if you take care of me, okay, I will leave my house to you. Okay, and say, okay, that's a good deal. I am going to take care of you and I will receive the house. But I was at the notary and this person went in front of the notary before me and signed the will, this kind of will to this lady, okay? But the day after, I went to go to the notary, okay? And I saw again this man without the lady. And this man was doing a new will, changing the will and not leaving anything to her. As explained before, what is the valid will? The last one. This lady will never know. In what moment she will know when this man passed away? She will discover that.
That's awful.
Terrible. And this is because, according to the Spanish system, the last will is the valid will. Okay, but you know, the advice is be careful with your spouse, your husband, or your wife.
So even if the girl has a lawyer,
it is impossible because the will is a private document. In the moment you sign in front of the notary, it's totally private. The notary cannot go to the lady and say, hello, this man signed a new will.
Yeah, he can't say anything.
yeah,
It's protected. And this is real. It's the real example. And when I usually mention this thing to another notaries, they are really Fran? Because yes, that's true. But this is possible.
So, okay, and then I think I haven't asked this question yet, so I want to ask this. So if somebody passes away and they have assets, what do those assets get frozen? Say, for example, from a couple, the husband or the wife passes away. So what happens to their joint account
Okay.
or to their house?
Okay. The thing is, it's different, for example, when the person passes away here in Spain or if the person passes away out of Spain. If you pass away in Spain, the Spanish Civil Registry will communicate this to the tax office. And the tax office, at the same time, will communicate this to the bank. That means that the bank will block usually half. Okay. And until you don't show them all your legal documentation, they are not going to unblock this money. Okay. However, if you pass away out of Spain, the bank doesn't have any information until you go there. Okay. In the moment, because for all the legal procedure, one of the documents we need to get from the bank is the balance in the moment the person passed away. We need to get a special document from the bank certifying the amount of the money when the person passed away, because we have to make some calculations. But in the moment you ask for this document, they know the person passed away and they are going to block the money.
And then it unfreezes when normally?
When all the legal procedure is done. For example, if you don't have any property and you only have a bank account, the document that the legal department of the bank is asking for is proof of the tax declaration showing these funds. Okay, and when you say, I send this to the tax office, this is legal, they are going to unblock the money and they are going to send you the money. As I mentioned before, sometimes they oblige you to open a Spanish bank account to move the money from this bank account to the other one. But in some other occasion, they are happy sending you the money to your bank account in your country. However, here we usually have a problem because the Spanish bank asks for a document called Certificado de Titularidad. It's something like a certificate to prove who is the holder of the bank account. And this is in some countries is not very, very common. And it's very difficult to get this document. And the bank in Spain is not going to send any money until you show this document proving that you are the holder of the bank account. If not, you have to open a Spanish bank account and they will transfer the money to and then you can move the money to your country.
I see. Okay.
There's a lot of like people who buy property here, but if as a former foreigner,
now I'm a Spanish citizen.
my mentality is I'm gonna buy a property and that's it. Realtor, take care of everything, done. But then most of the people who move here are retirees. So is it advisable to just go straight to buying a property, hiring a realtor, hiring a lawyer, and then going straight to the wills?
Okay. For example, for our clients, we usually offer, when they are buying a property, 2 packages. The basic one is just for buying the property. We usually think this kind of pack for people who bought before. Okay, it's just the transaction of buying the property, checking the legalities, helping with the private contract, all the things until the completion. However, for clients, when they are buying first time in Spain, in our pack, we include the Spanish will as part of the legal services, because we are very aware about the possible problems right after you are the owner. We don't know. We don't know. Okay, and this is another real example. I have a client who bought the property, and the day after he went to a crucero,
like a cruise ship.
A cruise. I say, Fran, I will go to my cruise, okay, and I don't have the will. They go, okay, but we cannot sign today.
Yeah, with the notary.
Yes. Don't worry, finger crossed. once you once you get back, okay, we will be able to sign your will. Fortunately, he made the will. But it is also true. We strongly advise once the completion is done, as soon as possible, to sign the Spanish will and say it's done. And even if they are not in Spain, because as I mentioned before, we can register a will done in front of a notary in another country. We can register the will here. We will do it in your country, and then we will register here. But we have to be sure the will is done.
Is there a state of mind and body for a person to not be allowed to make a will? So, for example, you have dementia, or you have...
You cannot make a will if you are not.
So how is the notary gonna...
The notary usually trusts your lawyer. The notary presumes the person who is going to sign the will has capacity enough to sign the will. But even though the notary is going to double check how you are. He's going to, okay, this is your NIE, okay, is your name? Do you have any question? The notary is going to double check how you are, okay? It's not a doctor, okay? But he will ask you some question just to double check you are okay.
Yeah. Because their responsibility is to you, right? Yeah, that's...
Yes, it's a high responsibility. One person has dementia, and this is different, and this is something we did in the past. For example, we have some clients in terminal state, but the mental health,
the cognitive, okay.
We went in person with the notary to the house of the client, and sometimes even to the hospital. Okay. Before going there, the notary will ask to us as lawyers, okay, I will have a conversation before the signing of the will with the doctor to be sure the problem this person has is just physical, not mental, okay? And after that, I will decide if we are going to sign or not the will, okay? And we did it in the past with some clients in hospital or even in the house. But the mind has to be perfectly well. Yeah.
That's a very good question. Yeah.
Very good question. It was very sad for us, for example.
Yeah.
Lydia came with me one of the times because it's when you are seeing a person in the last days. But sometimes it was totally advisable because this client made a will 25 years ago, leaving all to a person who, the day he signed the will, he didn't want to leave all to this person. But for any reason, he didn't change the will. And at the last moment, said, okay, I forgot the will is in the name of my previous wife.
Oh, great.
And finally we did it. But it is also possible to do it.
Okay. So to protect your property, protect yourself, you just have to
make it will. Yeah.
And the last will is the one that counts.
Right.
Nothing else.
So you can't really leave it to one person anyway, because I was gonna ask, like, if the one person is already dead and you forgot.
Oh,
okay,
that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good question. Okay, you can make your will, for example, just leaving to your wife, for example. But we advise to mention another person or people to substitute this person. Why? Because if this person pass away before you, okay, will go to the substitution people, and you don't have to sign any will because you can plan. Okay, we'll go to you, but if you pass away before me, we'll go to, for example, your children in equal part, or even after your children to your descendant. Okay, we usually advise to name some substitution, or for example, what's happening if both pass away at the same time. You have to mention, okay, if we both pass away at the same time, we'll go my half for these people and my half for these people. It's very important to mention this. Very important advice. Check your will if you sign your will before 2015, because this new regulation we are talking about is a European regulation from 2015. If you probably sign your will before, probably a notary say you have to apply your Spanish law because you are living here. But this is possible to change. Okay, check your will just to be sure if your will is according to your
National, if that's your
nationality
preference,
or your desire.
Yeah. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell. Shout out to our subscribers for always being awesome. Thanks to the people who support our channel by subscribing, commenting, giving us super thanks, and tipping us with our Buy Us a Coffee link. If you want to pick our brains and book a 60-minute consultation, we have a link for that, and we can give our honest opinions about topics that we haven't covered in our videos.
Thanks to the people in our Facebook group for being awesome members, for generously helping each other.
All right, so I feel like we're just scratching the surface of inheritance, and there's more. How can they email you? How can they contact you when they have questions about inheritance and wills? We're making wills,
Yes, making wills. It is advisable, in my opinion, to plan with time enough. Okay, sometimes the will is the plan. Okay, if something happens later, okay, they can contact us. They can email us. We can review any will they have. If unfortunately they are in the moment somebody passed away, we can also help with this, okay, to avoid any stress and try to sort it out all suave, no?
Just to make it easier for them.
Because it's a very bad moment to deal with this, and especially in another country.
In another language also.
It's crazy.
So thank you today, Fran. We'll put Fran's Fran's information in the description below. And yeah, it's appreciate you being generous with your time and information. I learned a lot. We learned a lot today. Yeah. And I love the scenarios that could happen,
It's my pleasure. Yeah. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Bye.